Welcome back to the Pot of Greed on APS Amplifier.
Yeah, we're back for episode 2. A lot of you guys really liked the first episode, which thanks.
In a
Appreciate
weird
it.
way, for me, it's like episode 1. Last episode felt like a pilot.
Yeah, I'd almost say this is like the actual sort of first episode. So, thank you. Shout out to all of you guys for the positive feedback. We are, of course, reading all the comments.
You know what my favorite comments were? The ones that came up within like 8 minutes of the video going live, and so they literally could not have watched.
Yeah, there's
like,
always
the whole
comments like
thing.
that. We're open to, any feedback, criticism. I know a lot of you guys said you wanted us to add the podcast to maybe like Apple Music, Spotify. We're
I only use
podcast
Android.
noobs, so we don't. I'll have to figure out how to do all that stuff. But we will get that stuff added on. Also, this time we're experimenting with multiple cameras, which
Oh, yeah, we
hopefully
do have
will
one
be able to get that to work.
Here and there.
Oh, there's a really cool comment that I saw pop up a lot. People wanted us to put like viewer suggested topics or just different topics in the Pot of Greed, and then like we like draw cards from the Pot of Greed.
I like that.
Do
I
like
like
different
that.
topics. I thought that might be fun. We'll do that if you guys want us to talk about specific things,
Now,
news stories.
I will warn you, I'm fairly certain at some point we're going to attempt that. It's going to get stuck on our hand, and then we'll have a clip. Oh, we'll have a clip.
Yeah, we'll have our first clip, or
okay.
we
We
like
gotta-
the
we gotta
viral
do that.
podcast or whatever. Okay, so we have news and stuff to talk about. Yu-Gi-Oh, card games, and other
Card
things.
game adjacent.
It's Banlist season.
It was Banlist season a week ago.
It's that time of the year I notice where people like do the whole comment on all of Konami's social media posts.
Yeah.
Where it's like Banlist, where's the Banlist? And there's like the memes and
We don't
pictures.
care. Where's the Banlist?
How do you feel about it? You think that
I mean, we've made so much content around Banlist season. It feels almost wrong. It feels kind of wrong to be too critical of it all,
yeah, people get antsy, and I get it. Yeah.
Because I always want to take this kind of like high road approach. Like the ban is gonna come when it comes. You guys need to just chill out and wait. But then I think the fanfare is kind of like a part of it all.
Yeah, that's true. I think that these days I'd almost say that the ban list is more of an event than it's like more the ban list concept is more important than the list itself. It feels like
That's a very good point, honestly.
because like I think everybody knows this point, right? Like the ban list isn't gonna fix Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Like it's not gonna like fix every little problem you have with the game because like I think that hand traps are toxic, you think that floodgates are toxic, I think that these combo decks are bad, and someone else thinks that the control decks are bad, and they should go back to this and they should go back to that, and I like 2016 more, and 2018 was peak Yu-Gi-Oh. It's kind of just like I think what people want now more than anything is just it's just like the breath of fresh air that a ban list provides, the renewed interest.
Which I feel like it barely even does that. Because there's so much hype before a ban list drops. And we've had a few ban lists in recent memory where they've been very lukewarm to the point
Yeah.
where, like,
Well, I think what it seems like Konami's been doing lately that I've noticed is like the lists have gotten, outside of maybe a couple of exceptions, like more and more like reserved and sparse, and like we'll just kind of like hit the bare minimum, or they'll do that thing where it's like they kind of hit stuff that seemed like it was more of a problem like in the format before last or something.
right.
Like they're kind of behind the curve.
So they kind of let power creep
Do it
really do most of the heavy lifting now. Because I just want to draw attention to the fact that Sword Soul have all of their cards.
Yeah, and like Despia, and they just kind of got crept. An engine.
Did Despia get crept? Because I think I saw
It
someone
kind
with
of
a
comes
Nats.
back. Yeah, it comes and goes.
Okay.
It's interesting because like in Master Duel, I play a lot of that, and like in Master Duel, they've constantly like, they hit Despia and they like kind of will give it a card back, they'll hit another thing. But like in the TCG, it's got like everything, but it's still like kind of evaded ban list notice. I think only recently.
Is it Max C?
Yeah, maybe Maxi helps. Maybe that's the Master Duel touch. But yeah, the Brave engine or the Adventure Token engine, I know that was one where people were like, they need to hit this, it's so crazy, and then like it just kind of they just let it rock, and like
It's interesting, the idea of letting power creep just really run your game. I've noticed that in other TCGs. I play a lot of Digimon, and their ban lists are, they're barely ban lists. They don't like banning cards. They'll usually just limit something to hit a deck's consistency, but they don't like getting rid of powerful cards if they can help it.
Yeah, I think Yu-Gi-Oh's kind of taken a similar approach. something that I do think a lot of people don't consider with ban lists is that like they can't hit any given thing too hard because like you don't want to burn any certain like players too much. Like if it's not a tier elements type of situation, it's probably just best to let people complain about the adventure token engine, but then kind of find their own counterplay and then just let it fizzle. And
I mean, maybe that's how it is now, but that's not how it used to be.
yeah, I think in the past it's been different. I think lately they've
remember
been
when they
dialing
banned
it back.
Construct.
Yeah, I remember that. That was like the kind of 2015 ban list, like late 2015.
Dante get banned, or was he just limited?
Burning Abyss actually, I remember them being one of the ones that escaped a lot of the ban list. Like I think Dante, or maybe it was like it was like Seer and Graph that got limited. And I think that was the big thing for Burning Abyss. But yeah, so to be clear, I don't even know what the current like TCG competitive format. I don't know enough about it to speak in any informed way about what's supposed to get
I've
hit.
been following and I'm so interested. It's so diverse and mucky.
Yeah, that much I do know. I know like people were saying that Kashtira is like the worst thing in the world, but then it's also like I know as of the last weekend I heard like Super Heavy Samurai and Pirelli are now like on the map.
Those are real decks.
So
and there's something else we're forgetting about too. But once again, this is a math mech.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, that's more of a Master Duel thing. Or is it a TCG thing?
I think it's in the TCG too. But maybe
I also know there's the
Master
branded
Duel news.
expulsion thing. People don't like that because it summons.
Which one's branded expulsion?
It's like their trap that summons like the gimmick puppet to your opponent and they can't do anything.
Yeah.
There's like little things like that I suppose could probably afford to go. They also, another thing is a dimensional barrier. Everyone says that they want that to get like limited or banned. I've heard that so many formats, and it feels like that's one of those cards that Konami just never. They don't seem like they ever really will hit it. So maybe it's not a thing.
It's so specific and limited to.
Who don't tell that to the wrong crowd.
I know we're whining because it could be a actual floodgate, but it's not.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, even I know like there are people who think that it's like the most toxic thing in the world, and I don't. I think that there are worse things.
A well-planned D barrier will crush your soul, but you can say that about a lot of cards.
Yeah, that almost defines Yu-Gi-Oh! Today is like there are many cards that are truly just like turn stopping, you know.
Like Dark Ruler No More and
yeah, there was a time when people wanted that banned.
Who's the hand trap that banishes everything?
Yeah, D-Shifter. People hate that.
Those are cards that if they resolve at the right moment, you kind of have to scoop.
Yeah, now I know at least in this case the ban list. It makes sense that people want it because like the Nats season is kind of about to start. So these last little round of regionals are happening, and then most regions are going to be having like their nationals. So it would make sense for them to kind of hurry and get this list out there so people can prepare for their trips and prepare. So I do get that antsiness.
Yeah.
It's just
it's summer, boys.
I don't know. I just think it's funny when like just the Konami makes a post about like here's some concept art of, you know, Vicious Astrolaud, and people are just like memeing it or whatever. They don't care.
I know. It's always funny to me. I think ever since I went to my first Nats, I always associate National Season with Battles of Legend.
Yeah.
And I always associate Battles of Legend with new Performance Power support. And so I can't wait for Nats so we get more Performance Power support.
Yeah. We might be in Nats. Not sure yet. It could be a fun.
Where's our Nats this year?
It's Raleigh, North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Kind of seems like the middle of nowhere, but maybe there's something.
It's one of those. We're in school and you're learning your states and their capitals. It's one of the ones you remember really easily. But what's in Raleigh? Does anyone know anything there?
I think Mega Capital.
No hate to people who live out there.
I think he lives there.
Oh,
I remember that from years ago. I don't know why. There's like
that's a random fact.
Yeah, I remember there was like some YouTube thing. I don't know.
Did you just dox?
No, I mean he said it. Maybe.
Don't clip this.
Sorry, Randall. So, yeah, that banlist season, it's coming up. You guys can let us know what you think should get hit. We are not experts, so don't listen to any of our musings on what should or shouldn't.
We don't even have our invites.
Happen. I do.
You have an invite?
I got one in 2019, and apparently it just has carried over. That's what they. Because if you got it in 2019, you know, 2020's Nationals got banned. Or not, it didn't get banned. It got banned. 2020's Nationals got canceled. And so then they were like, okay, like your invite will swing over to 2021, and then 2021 didn't have a Nationals. Last year, 2022, it had a Nationals, but they said that you didn't have to enter that one because like some people still at that point might have been wary of like, you know, the COVID thing. And so so you apparently can still use an invite this year. So I have a nearly 4-year-old invite for a completely different Yu-Gi-Oh, basically.
I remember because
But,
that was during that time when you went to quite a few different tournaments.
Yeah, I was in my little competitive.
You went a little
on my
tear.
grind, and then someone stole my deck at a YCS, and I was like, I'm done with this shit for a while. But anywho, Nats, ban lists, crazy things happening. Okay, I actually have a real story though.
Okay.
That's not the ban list isn't a real story.
No, it's just an event.
All right, here's one that I think that you will like.
Oh, we'll see about that.
Yu-Gi-Oh player reportedly rents girl to play the game with him. Have you seen this?
I've seen the bare minimum about this.
Yeah, so a Yu-Gi-Oh player has boasted online about how he has been, quote, renting a woman who comes on dates to play the game with him. So, yeah, basically, in a post that has since been marked by Twitter as containing sensitive content, a user known by the handle Amorises, I might have said that wrong, posted a photo of himself playing the trading card game against an unnamed woman. The picture shows no faces, but it does depict the two players holding their Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Well, how do we know that that's what the picture is depicting?
Yeah, so the tweet itself was not posted in English, but it translated roughly to a statement from the poster saying that he wanted to play Yu-Gi-Oh, quote, no matter what, which resulted in his hiring a girl to come to his house and join the game. So I guess he was lonely and did not have friends or a place to play. So he rented this girl, which I guess is more common where he is. I don't know.
So I know that I've actually heard the story that people would play Yu-Gi-Oh, but they have no one to play with. I've heard that quite a few times, so that tracks.
Yeah, and so after several times, she showed up with her own self-built deck, which is kind of the, happy ending to the story, is that while it sounds, I guess, pitiful and pathetic that you're like renting a girl to play Yu-Gi-Oh with you, eventually she got into it enough herself that she built a deck. Because I guess like up to then he was probably lending her decks. And then,
I wonder, but is that pitiful?
well, that's like the sentiment everybody has is like you're pathetic. You're renting a girl to play Yu-Gi-Oh with you because like you don't have any friends or.
Because I mean, I know quite a few people who couldn't even do that much.
Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, you think this is?
No, I think it's a good like wholesome story. I mean, she's a rental girlfriend, not to be confused with the anime of the same name. This is a job, and she has a regular client who has a very specific taste, and it could be a lot worse, right?
Yeah,
it could be a lot
really
worse.
could.
And she is doing her utmost to provide entertainment and quality time.
Fun.
And if she's learning Yu-Gi-Oh at the same time, that means this guy's also spreading the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you first see it, it obviously is like a funny headline. It's like very cringe, nerd, like, so desperate. But honestly, I mean, like you said, like there could be worse things. Like he could be like have some weird kink or like, be like a creeper. But if he's just asking her to play Yu-Gi-Oh and like it sounds like she's enjoying it enough to build her own deck. So
I mean,
actually bring it and play it.
It was probably a strange request early on, and maybe not the way you usually want to approach a girl or even a girl you've rented. So it's a strange concept. At least where we are, rental girlfriends aren't a thing.
Yeah, I think in North America or just maybe like the West or whatever, like I don't think that sort of service is seen as like that's just a little creepy and desperate. But I think,
but I don't know. We've never really tried. I might put an ad in the paper and see what I can get.
Yeah, you're renting a girlfriend.
Or is Craigslist still a thing?
I don't know. I mean, I think that now it's like supposed to actually be like a buy and sell safe site. I know it's had rumors of being.
For a video, I would be willing to try to rent a duelist.
Do you remember that one site where you could rent like a girl to play video games with you? What was that called?
Oh my God, I forgot about that. They reached out.
They reached out to us to do like a sponsored video. This was years ago. I don't remember what it was called.
Oh man, you're right. There was
like something Star.
Because for context, guys, I want to say years ago we were contacted by this service where you could get kind of your own gamer girl to play games with you for like
it's like rent a gamer girl.
Yeah, that was what the service was, and we thought it was ludicrous, but we did entertain the idea of doing the sponsorship. We did not go through with it. It was just a little too strange. But I wonder if is that service still around, and can I rent a Yu-Gi-Oh player?
I mean, I'm sure you can rent someone to play Duel Links or Master Duel. Because, like, on that service, it was...
No, I want webcam. I want dirty YCS level.
Oh, goodness. Oh, you want the remote duel experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring Kashtira.
That is a thing now. You know what's interesting, actually, is, like, I wonder why this guy didn't play Master Duel or Duel Links. I guess he wanted, like, the physical...
Yeah, I mean...
Like, face-to-face.
Because Master Duel and Duel Links are fine, but, you know, we all started this game playing physically.
So, some referred to the guy renting the lady to play as a, quote, legend, or called him based. I'm using air quotes because they're quotes.
I mean, they quoted it.
While others referred to him as depraved. Multiple comments made in good humor also flooded the replies with people saying things like, I'm in the wrong industry. So,
I mean, hey guys and girls, I am 110% sure that there are plenty of Yu-Gi-Oh players all over the world that would rent you to play Yu-Gi-Oh with them. So maybe start putting that out there. Put some feelers out. See if anybody hiring.
Yeah, I think that this is actually like a feel-good story. Like, I walk away from this smiling and not like, I don't think it's that cringy, really. I know some people do, but...
Question, Paul.
Answer.
If given the opportunity, would you rent yourself out to play Yu-Gi-Oh with a stranger?
See, you can't ask me that, because, like, I haven't, like, we're Yu-Gi tubers. Like, it would be, like, too... Because I think that part of the thing with, like, a rental girlfriend is also that they don't know anything else about you other than that, like, they've just rented you for the day. But if it was me, like, they'd be like, oh, I love, like, this video, and, like, I want to, like, make this content.
That somehow they wouldn't hear your voice or see your face, and they wouldn't know. I don't know how we do it, but pretend
I'll get back to you on that with my answer. But this guy, he rented her, and she was happy, and he's happy. And
hey.
I don't think I'm going to
transcends.
No, I'm not. They're not renting me out, but...
Well, Yu-Gi-Oh transcends all barriers, guys.
So yeah, that's my story.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. This is more card game adjacent.
Okay.
So Viz, large multimedia company, they launched their own manga reading app with a subscription.
They didn't have this before.
They only had Shonen Jump, and Shonen Jump is a brand underneath Viz,
right, okay.
They only offer specific Shonen Jump manga, but Viz owns way more than just Shonen Jump.
Right. Okay.
So on their new service, you can read more than just Shonen Jump things like Yu-Gi-Oh and like Dragon Ball. I saw like Inuyasha and all these more like mature works that aren't just for like teenagers.
Are there any new like Yu-Gi-Oh mangas that are airing?
So,
I say airing, sorry. Publishing or in serialization?
So, technically, yes. But the situation with Yu-Gi-Oh manga are that they update horrendously slowly. So there's the Yu-Gi-Oh OCG Structures manga, where you follow your main character who plays the closest thing we've seen to modern Yu-Gi-Oh ever. Because we've seen them use like Thunder Dragons, we've seen them use like actual competitive decks,
right?
And it kind of coincides with OCG releases, and they'll promote new cards and new strategies. We've seen them use Infernobles now. Think about it. And then there's the
Sky Striker Ace Ray.
So that's the kind of lore one, but
that's probably not even published like in any.
No one knows. But similarly to Structures, I mean, no one really knows when that's going to update again.
Yeah, that's probably not.
It will update at some point.
Once a year.
But
it's a bit of a shame that Konami doesn't do more with like all these lore stories. Like I know with the OCG they kind of have. It's going to get into a story that I have later, but like the OCG gets a lot more like cool Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, and I know that they get like the lore guides. I'm just always surprised they don't at least make them into manga. Right? Like,
I mean, it's a gross underutilization of one of the world's top brands. People don't realize it, but Yu-Gi-Oh is a top like media franchise like top in the world.
Yeah.
And we're not doing anything with it outside of selling some cards. So luckily we have Master Duel now, so that's something,
Playing some games.
And they launched like Rush Duels in Japan.
Yeah, don't got that here.
Well, we have the video game. We played it once, twice.
Okay.
It's not the same. It's just not the same.
Well, anything else with Viz that like you're reading? Like, are you going to be getting this subscription?
Oh, I'm for sure getting a subscription because it actually has. It's like $1.99, which is actually less than Shonen Jump because I think Shonen Jump is $2.99, and it has thousands of manga, and these are simul published manga, so they're about as up to date as you can get.
That's so inexpensive
and officially licensed.
Yeah, like
no more stealing.
You know what's interesting? I guess like I'm so used to the cost of like streaming services and stuff, where it's like at the cheapest like $10 a month, and like at the most like 20, like Netflix and stuff. That like hearing that something's like like $1.99 a month to like read basically just this huge library of manga, like maybe people need to like.
I do think people should just
be reading more, like read more manga, like read more comic, because I think comics are kind of similar. I know that they have like fairly inexpensive subscriptions.
With DC and Marvel, these are American comics. They're more expensive, but they're really trying to make a lot of money with their subscription services. It seems like for Viz, this is more supplementary.
Yeah,
because I think $1.99 is actually just too cheap in my opinion. It'll probably go up next year.
Yeah, likely.
I think this might be an introductory price.
But I mean that's cool though. And $1.99 just seems like there's just so much entertainment.
To be clear, you can read Yu-Gi-Oh on both the Shonen Jump app and the Viz Media app. So no reason not to.
As well. I mean,
no reason not to.
Anything else on it? Just
that was the long and short of it. There's also a free trial that's available now. It was just weird because with the announcement that came out a little bit less than 24 hours ago, they launched it. They just are like, announcement.
Well, I guess just something like that's easier to launch because I mean it's just a sort of a library of manga.
And it's a library. It's things they already had, and they already had the scans and the archive. They just had to make it publicly available in such a way where they can monetize.
Okay, so here's something kind of
only available in U.S. and Canada.
Here's something also kind of interesting. A Japanese restaurant is now selling Yu-Gi-Oh's horrific Monster Burger, which you might know of. So yeah,
Monster Burger.
Yeah, the Hungry Burger. You remember the ritual monster?
Oh,
yeah. A Japanese restaurant is offering a Hungry Burger as part of a special Yu-Gi-Oh collaboration menu, and it looks like it's the type of burger that could bite back.
Is there a picture?
I'll show you the picture. I'll try to put it on the screen, but.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so they in commemoration of the 25th anniversary of the Yu-Gi-Oh OCG, Coco's Restaurant will be serving up a dish inspired by the ritual monster Hungry Burger, starting May 16th. The horrific hamburger looks mouth-watering, layered up in a bun with lettuce, tomato, and teeth-shaped cheese. Also, other items on the Yu-Gi-Oh collaboration menu include a Galactica Oblivion Parfait, a 7th Road Magician Curry, which should have been the Drageus curry.
It should have. They should have done the Drageus blue curry.
And a Blue Eyes White Dragon Parfait. The dishes will be available in 2 waves from May 16th through June 5th and June 6th through June 26th.
So I have a problem.
Okay.
Because, and this is messed up, and I wish I could get this out of my head, but now I can't stop thinking, like, you're eating the Hungry Burger, and, like, you're essentially just Frenching it. Because it's a mouth. You're eating with your mouth.
Yeah, you're just kind of, it's like a very intimate.
It feels very sensual.
Meal. Although I think that the Hungry Burger is supposed to be the sort of thing where, like, it bites back. Like, you know what I mean?
Sometimes, you know, when, like, people really get into, like, kissing, sometimes they bite a little bit.
Yeah, that's Hungry Burger. I mean, look, but with Hungry Burger's teeth, I feel like it's, like, doing a little more than, like, biting back.
It might leave a hickey.
So, yeah, that a little more than that. Also, if you purchase these limited time menu items, you'll receive a card from the OCG or from Rush Duel at random with your order. There are 14 cards up for grabs altogether, and the different ones will be available across different waves. So there's a chance to pick up things like Dark Magician, Elemental Hero Neo, Stardust Dragon, and others. So
this reminds me of the illustrious McDonald's collaboration that will go down in history as the greatest thing McDonald's has ever done. Well, that and the McGriddle.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's a shame that we can't get stuff like this in America. Because that's what I was saying earlier. At least not anymore. Is like, the OCG just seems like it gets, like, the OCG just gets so much Yu-Gi-Oh love, right? Like, because this isn't, like, really a, like, you know, tournament or anything like that. It's just like, hey, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh's got a kind of iconic food-based monster, and we made it like a thing on our menu for a limited time. And so, I don't know, that seems...
I just imagine it's easy. I just imagine it's easier to negotiate these types of like brand sponsorship collaborations when it's a Japanese business talking to Japanese businessmen.
Yeah, meanwhile we have to have like the Cardi B an Offset meal at McDonald's. That's not even like an actual special thing. It's just the same menu items in a different bag.
Man, wouldn't it be wild if we got like celebrity collaborations with Yu-Gi-Oh? There's a Cardi B and Offset card.
Okay. I think that actually could be kind of fun. I mean, Pokemon's done that. Pokemon did that with like, isn't there like a, who's that guy? The rapper? It came out he liked Oh my god.
There's a lot of rappers that I'm sure that like Pokemon.
Oh, I forget his name. I'll think of it. Wait, no, he plays Magic the Gathering, and he I think did a thing with Pokemon.
He's a Magic the Gathering rapper who did a thing with Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up.
Are you talking about Post Malone?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because he played Magic the Gathering, and then he also, I mean, some people maybe wouldn't call him a rapper, but
I mean,
that's the official designation.
He vibes on stage. That's all. That's what I was saying.
So,
he vibes on stage.
Yeah, so it's like, but I think they made a Post Malone card, didn't they? Like for Pokemon, I think they did.
I haven't seen it. I have to look it up.
Yeah. So I don't know. Also, another little thing this reminded me of is that Hungry Burger actually is getting support, and it's coming out, I think, in this next deck builder set.
Nouvelles? I forget.
I don't. It's like a ritual theme, a chef ritual theme, and then like it can support Hungry Burger.
Yeah, they work with the Hungry Burger.
Are you looking up the?
I'm trying to find this Post Malone card. I think it's a Magic card.
I don't know if it's a Magic or a Pokemon card, but like basically there is precedence for.
Oh, here it is. I think it's called Post the Enchanter.
Interesting.
Human Wizard.
Ah. Okay, yeah, it does look like him. I mean, like, we've gotten, like, Tyler the Great Warrior, so a kid has been able to design a Yu-Gi-Oh card, so why can't we have, like, celebrity... Japan would never allow.
Under no circumstances.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's cool. If you guys ever happen to be visiting Japan, maybe go and pick up one of these burgers, take a picture of it, share it with us. I'd love to see. If I happen to actually be in Japan, which I won't be, but it'd be cool if I was, I would love to eat a Hungry Burger.
You can make your own Hungry Burger.
I could do that. I think there's a video on YouTube of somebody doing that. Or maybe Tombox did it. I don't know. But yeah, that's my story. All right. What you got?
So last week we did talk a little bit about Lorcana, and there's a video of them showing off kind of their foils. But I want to get your like take on how Lorcana cards look.
Okay, let me see.
So they have a more subdued foiling.
Oh, okay. It kind of reminds me more of like how Magic the Gathering or somewhere does their foiling.
It actually reminded me a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh foiling with how the whole card isn't just rainbow foil. It's certain parts of the card artwork are foil and other parts aren't. I find it to be more tasteful.
So you like your foiling a little more subdued.
Mm-hmm.
What's an example of bad card game foiling for you?
So I know this is blasphemy. I actually don't like Starlight Rares.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't really think that they're
covered in rainbow glitter. That's what it feels like when I see a Starlight.
To me, I think a card game that sometimes goes a little overboard with the foiling for me. Sometimes Pokemon cards can be a bit much. Like, it's a little too loud. Like, when they just do
like the gold cards.
The gold ones are a bit much. Some of the rainbow cards, like...
Oh, yeah.
They're kind of cool, but also they can kind of be a bit excessive. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Does a pretty good job with, like, Ultimate and Collector's Rares, where the cards feel very regal and, like, crisp, but not, like, over the top. Like Starlight... doesn't really do it for me.
A rarity that everyone loves, that I only love because it was the first gaudy rarity, is Ghost Rare.
You'd call Ghost Rare gaudy?
Just because it isn't... Ghost Rare is specifically what I don't like about foiling. Just the all over, it covers the card.
Well, it doesn't actually cover the card. I think it's just I think it's just the art. Or do you mean like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I typically don't like it, but it's retro, and I like it on synchros. I will say it for a fact. I like Ghost Rare on synchros, but because they're already white cards. But otherwise, I actually don't like Ghost Rare.
I like Ghost Rare on Xyz. I think it's the coolest contrast.
Like, it's okay on Xyz.
I don't like that we don't get Ghost Rares anymore.
We do in Ghosts from the Past. I don't want to hear that until you've bought a case so you can pull a ghost.
You'll never see me buy a case of Ghost from the Past. I do not like those
Guys,
sets.
He's a YouTuber. Don't believe that.
So I mean, the Lorcana rarity though, it seems pretty normal. Like it's kind of, I've always found that like how a game does rarities actually says a lot about like its printing process, and to me, it's like quality and longevity. Like I think you have to have your rarities need to look a little special for people to really like take to like for at least in my opinion. I know like Lorcana's got other things going for it. It's like a Disney thing, so they'll be fine either way, I'm sure. But the rarities so far are just like, that looks kind of middling to me. It's just maybe a little unremarkable. I'll have to see it in person. They announced a Star Wars TCG. I know we've been talking a lot about card game fatigue and how it feels like there are way too many of them. Well, in case you were short on card games to be
so upset,
potentially, courted to play, with the Star Wars Unlimited TCG, Fantasy Flight is putting all its cards on the table. So,
why?
Fantasy Flight Games is stepping into the ring with a new Star Wars-themed trading card game to go up against Magic the Gathering and Disney Lorcana. Bit of a tie-in there.
They've already just pushed Pokemon to the side. We're not even competing against that game anymore.
Yeah, called Star Wars Unlimited. It will launch in 2024 with a full 200-plus card set and all new art based on the original trilogy, alongside a full slate of organized play events. Speaking with Polygon ahead of Tuesday's reveal, co-designer Jim Cartwright readily acknowledged that he and his team would be fighting an uphill battle to earn the hearts of potential players, especially those burned by past experiences with Fantasy Flight's card game franchises. I don't know what else they made.
I'm looking it up.
Okay.
Fantasy Flight?
No, here it says it.
Oh, okay.
Fantasy Flight's reputation as a publisher of card games is a bit rocky following a series of high-profile cancellations, including Netrunner, Legend of the Five Rings, and Star Wars Destiny. I don't know if you've heard of any of these games.
I haven't heard of any of those.
Yeah, so I guess that. All right, so you plan a Star Wars TCG?
No. And I love Star Wars, but I'm absolutely positively not doing that.
So why not? Let's hear it.
My card game experience comes with Yu-Gi-Oh! I have a certain expectation for aesthetic that Star Wars cannot hit. It's a live action property, and if they even remotely try to capture the live action original trilogy movies in card form, I'm not going to want to look at that. I don't want to collect the cards. I don't want to see them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'll keep it a buck. I think that this just isn't really gonna work. It's not because I don't like Star Wars, which I don't know anything enough. I don't know enough about Star Wars to have an opinion on that part. It's more like there's card game fatigue, man. Like there's a lot of card games coming out, and it's just like I don't know that people who even like Star Wars are necessary. Like I don't know how much crossover there is there. Like I'm sure I know there's some.
That's just not the way that I want to consume Star Wars content. But now there are going to be some people who do. That's not. I don't think it'll be enough to sustain in this world dominated by Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh.
It also seems like it's just another one of these things where like they kind of slap an IP onto a game. Like I'm not sorry. That's presumptuous of me. I have not played this game or seen anything of it or whatever. But I don't like when it kind of just feels like they take a popular property, like, oh, it's the Harry Potter card game, it's the what, like even like the Disney card game. Like, here's a thing that you recognize or are nostalgic for, or that is just established, and we're gonna like make a card game about it. The same could really even be said of like One Piece or something, although that seems to be doing pretty well. So,
but that is about the same case here. You know, when you want to compete with Pokemon, you have to look at why Pokemon's successful, and one of the main reasons why it's successful is it's the most widespread media franchise in the world. I mean,
yeah, everybody knows.
So you pick another franchise that is also like very popular, and you're like, okay, I'll give it a card game, and that's fine. Except the market here is not. This is not some all-encompassing market. Where are these new card gamers going to come from?
Yeah, that's something I think you'd said before. It's like, it's hard to... I think that a lot of these card games kind of just court existing card game players and try to kind of pull you away from whatever card games you currently play. And like for some people, I think that does work. Like there are people who are kind of willing to just card hop, right? Like I'll just play a new game every few months. Not I. I mean, I am trying to learn Magic right now, and I've like dabbled in some other games, but it's tough to really pull me away from my games.
Like I would love for Star Wars to be involved in card games, but you know how I'd like them? In Magic or
Like, as a
more
collab.
Cosmo cards in Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, that's how I'd like to experience Star Wars in card games. But a brand new TCG just for them.
My next, like, not all that hot take, lukewarm take really, is I think that the properties that lend themselves best to card games in general are more like collector kind of summon creature type of properties.
Right.
So Pokemon, perfect. Digimon, also really good. And Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like literally just the whole thing. It's already, that's the basis of the anime. I guess you could say Magic's a bit of the exception, but I think that it all kind of falls apart where it's like Star Wars has no, to my knowledge, there's not like a collectible kind of like a creatures, monsters aspect. I know that there are like
you
creatures.
collect people.
Yeah. It's like I know that like exists in there to some degree, but like it's not like I don't know. So it's like what are the cards supposed to be? Like it's just characters?
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be a bunch of Jedi, bounty hunters, droids.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just think like when it comes to something like Digimon, it's like I would want my Agumon, and it can evolve into Greymon, and that's something. It seems so easy to translate that into a card game, like evolving creatures and stuff like that, as opposed to like if I had to just say like, oh, there's just gonna kind of be like a Harry Potter card game, and the cards are just these
spells.
I guess spells or fantastic beasts, maybe that. I don't know. It doesn't. It's something that it was not made for a card game, really, and so like they're just going to have to try to stretch the lore and like kind of. And take a lot of creative license to sort of try to force it to work.
Harry Potter card game? No, I'm thinking
probably.
About it. I think there was one.
I mean, I think every major property has had at least some collectible thing at worst. So, now here's one more thing that they say. We're not trying to get into anything crazy or fancy, Cartwright said. We wanted to focus all of our design on how do we make the best card game, specifically in the focus on cards and the focus on the interaction of those cards and the kind of unlimited possibilities you get from being able to play with all of the Star Wars toys. So it is a non-gimmicky TCG, is what he says.
I don't get it.
So
that means no like extra peripherals, kind of like the Bakugan card game?
Yeah, he described the game as fast-moving with lots of back and forth between players in a given round. It means that you're not waiting for me to think about all the different things I have to do, play out my whole turn, maybe ruin the experience for you in a short burst of time. It is really about this constant engagement of I do a thing, you do a thing, that keeps everyone simultaneously focused on what's going on. So it seems like a very back and forth game, not like a my whole turn, now your whole turn, now my whole turn. That's a complaint people have about Yu-Gi-Oh! At times, is that like it's not interactive as much anymore.
That means they're not using the right hand traps.
So, and I agree. I think Yu-Gi-Oh's more interactive than people are really giving it credit for. But so yeah, this is gonna be coming out in 2024. I won't be playing it.
I will reserve my full judgment until after I've seen what the cards look like, because I'm an aesthetic guy more so than anything else. If the cards can just, if they can just do something with the cards that interests me, cool. But I just have very low expectations.
I mean, Larry might like this. He likes Star Wars.
So I have this story. I saw this morning. Are you familiar with that show Antique Roadshow?
No.
So it's this TV show where they travel. They travel around and they just kind of review / sell. I think they auction off things that they find on as they travel around. I think the United States and the world.
Okay.
So normally things they get things like oil paintings, sports memorabilia, and like jewelry.
Right.
But in this episode of Antique Roadshow, a guy showed up, or was it a girl? Someone showed up with a full set of base set Pokemon cards. A complete base set. Just, I guess I'll be considered a master,
okay.
They call it like a master collection or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, what kind of caught my attention about it is, one, it's like, wow, man, Pokemon is just so mainstream that these Pokemon cards are being looked as like antiques and culture.
Yeah.
And then two, it could have been me if only Yu-Gi-Oh was more mainstream.
I wonder how much that's like worth? Like, did they evaluate those things or?
Let's see. After could fetch anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000.
Oh, only that much?
Yeah, the binder can be anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. I guess it has something to do with the conditioning of the cards. But what's interesting is the story that they told. My mom thought I was being taken advantage of in trades, so she bought me this complete set to save until I got older.
Wow. So the mom actually kind of had the premonition that these cards would eventually be worth a lot.
It reminds me a lot of my mom because for Alex and I, our mom, she would buy us like those old like master collection sets, and she always kind of assumed that the like Yu-Gi-Oh cards would over time accrue value.
Yeah.
And she hated that we would go to school and just trade them away.
Yeah. I mean, I think
she told us not to do that so many times.
It's so funny. I know like everybody always has like the constant sort of thing where it's like, man, if I had just known that like these Yu-Gi-Oh cards, these Pokemon cards would be worth a lot. Like, you know, oh, I still have some in my closet, but then you find out like you didn't use sleeves and you didn't. It kind of makes me think like, I know we kind of talked about this last week. The age of that is just like over now because now everybody knows to preserve anything that might have a perceived value today, and they know to like get it graded really fast.
Yep.
And they know that like they want like there's like almost this market of like spin it quickly. So I think that I guess the charm of it is like you only really have the big high dollar cards if you were one of the very few people who like took care of your cards and like was really collecting them back then and really probably just didn't use them at all.
So I mean, that's like, kind of what it would take to keep a collection in good condition since what was this, 1999? Yeah, 1999.
Yeah. And you're right. It is kind of a cultural thing now. Like like Pokemon's in a pawn shop, or not a pawn shop, but like the Pokemon's like at like an antique kind of auction pawn thing.
Yep. And talking about selling for thousands of dollars, and you know, Yu-Gi-Oh, it just never quite hit that same level of mainstream popularity. I mean, but we've talked about before, just the sheer the marketing genius that was late 90s, early 2000s Pokemon.
Yeah. Real like pop culture phenomenon. I mean, I think Yu-Gi-Oh was experiencing that for a couple of years on its release. It's just that I think Yu-Gi-Oh there's a few reasons why I think Pokemon's probably does better. A, it's got the video games. So like
the video games push it well like over the top.
The number one reason, but also it's kind of more of a like cutesy collectible monsters thing, which Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have. Like kind of, it's a little darker, a little grittier, and like the monsters don't have much individual personality outside of the like iconic ones. So like you can pretty much have an opinion on all of the like 900 however many Pokemon there are. Whereas with like Yu-Gi-Oh, there's only really about, you know, you ask someone to name Yu-Gi-Oh monsters, they might get to like a dozen or so, maybe.
I'm sure I can get into the hundreds.
I mean, so, and I think actually my third reason is maybe more of like a hot take. I think people still see Yu-Gi-Oh to some degree as like a Japanese property, whereas Pokemon managed to, in those early 2000s, like late 90s, early 2000s, transcended it sort of shed the skin of being like anime or like a Japanese thing, and it was just sort of a worldwide kids love these cute creatures phenomenon thing.
I mean, as a kid, I didn't know it was Japanese. I didn't even know what anime was. Pokemon was just Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. And to some degree, I think Yu-Gi-Oh had that for me when I was younger. Like it kind of was kind of that.
I think the only thing that well, it was a couple things. Yu-Gi-Oh wasn't as widely marketed as Pokemon. They marketed the TV show in all places where kids would be. They marketed the cards in a much the same way. But like we were really lacking in the like video game, the books, those because the Pokemon covered everything you could put a Pokemon on. They sold it.
And the plush and toys and action figures, which Yu-Gi-Oh's had only really small bits of that. And a bit of a resurgence in the last few years. But
it's a little late for that now, but
yeah. Oh, our light went out. Sad face. Yeah.
That's the signal that this podcast is over.
Yeah. We just turn the light off.
It doesn't mean
no, but yeah, I don't know. I think like I don't know. I don't want to turn into like a Yu-Gi-Oh versus Pokemon thing, but it's cool that this showed up. So if nothing else, that's positive. Even if
or something
could have been Yu-Gi-Oh cards instead. Okay, well, my next story is also kind of from one of these pawn type of places. This actually is something I probably should have had last week, but let me see. All right, here we go. New Netflix series shows Drake hunting for rare LeBron James collectible. Yeah. So, let me see if I can get like a good synopsis of this. Yeah, so looking into the world of collectibles and how these valuables have skyrocketed over the years, Drizzy Drake meets with the founder of Golden Auctions, Ken Golden. The series revolves around the hunt for sports collectibles and the rarability of these pieces. It's hosted by Golden himself. Drake is seen with Golden looking for a rare LeBron James triple logo man card. The card itself features each NBA logo for every team he won a championship in.
They're going to have to add the Lakers to that.
And the exclusivity of this card is that only one exists. So Drake can be seen testing his luck, opening a box of sealed cards, not knowing what he'll pull. But he ends up pulling a $50,000 Penny Hardaway Logo Man card, a Larry Bird card, an Isaiah Thomas card, and another rare Michael Jordan card. But despite his best efforts, he was unable to pick up the LeBron card.
So, I have to pardon my ignorance, because I truly know nothing about sports trading cards.
Same.
Do people really collect these?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know that the sports cards, I think, were... So my understanding, and like I don't know a history of sports cards. I have never collected them. I just know that they are big. I think that the whole, like, Pokemon cards and other stuff getting graded and all that whole culture comes from sports cards first and foremost.
But like
they've been around much longer, and I know that they've been known first and foremost as collectibles. Whereas like our cards were meant to sort of be played with,
right?
And then
there's a game with ours.
There's like a game. They somewhat kind of became collectibles. Sports cards are pretty much always you just collected the cards of your favorite baseball player, basketball player. So, yeah, and I know they have like higher prices too.
I've just never met a like sports card collector who isn't in their like 50s.
Neither have I. Neither have I.
So I'm a bit surprised to hear that Drake collects sports cards. Maybe they just paid him enough so he claimed he does. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think Drake collects sports cards. I think that he got.
Then again, if Avril Lavigne plays Battle Spirits, then
which she doesn't. We know that was a paid ad.
Oh my gosh, Paul.
Okay, sorry. For anybody who doesn't know, explain.
So during the Battle Spirits, I think Vegas event, Avril Lavigne was invited or there. Regardless, she posted on Twitter as a sponsored tweet. It says it in the tweet about how much she likes Battle Spirits.
Yeah, Battle Spirits Saga.
Battle Spirits Saga
card game.
The Battle Spirits reboot. But
it's a fucking lie.
You'd have to be crazy to actually believe that Avril Lavigne is a Battle Spirits player. Like, there's no chance. I would even go as far as to say Avril Lavigne like doesn't play any card games.
I mean, okay, I'll say this. I'm not going to presume to know what her personal interests are. I just know that when you're a celebrity, it becomes impossible for me to believe that you like anything that you like promote. Because I mean, we've seen like just blatant, like there are like times when celebrities will be like, they'll have like a Samsung brand collab thing, and they literally like are seen using iPhones and stuff, or like I love this video game console or whatever. And it's like they don't play games at all. Like it's very so.
So are you trying to tell me you don't believe Soulja Boy had his own game console?
Well, me tried. Anyway, the point is, Drake didn't get this card, but I think that the idea of showing somebody like Drake looking for cards and like collectibles maybe is like a...
I mean, he did make Fortnite popular.
That's true. Maybe he needs to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Question. All right. Drake aside, if you could get any celebrity to sit down and play Yu-Gi-Oh! With the goal of exposing people to the game and possibly making it mainstream, who would it be?
A celebrity that, like, if they played Yu-Gi-Oh, help it blow up. I mean, Drake wouldn't be a bad pick, but
You can't pick Drake because Drake plays with Pokemon, baseball, basketball cards.
Man, like, I want to. So my first thought was actually going to be like Taylor Swift, but the reason because she's so popular. But then the reason I feel like I wouldn't is because I think that it could not possibly feel genuine. Like, just people would know off the bat that like this must be like a paid, just some.
Right.
So I don't know. Who do you think of?
Michael B. Jordan.
That's believable. We know he like watches anime
I just
and stuff.
feel like he has played Yu-Gi-Oh before, even if he doesn't do it now.
Yeah.
We just gotta trick him into sitting down at a table. That's all I need. You get me, Michael B. Jordan, at a table. I'll take care of the rest.
Yeah, I mean, like that's believable, right? Like we know that he's watched anime. We know that like that's inspired like some of the movies he's worked on. I could see that. I think like he probably actually did play Yu-Gi-Oh. At least dabble.
Come on, man. Like I know what age group he's in. Like the Star X were around.
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah, for sure. I think also when it comes to celebrities like playing Yu-Gi-Oh, because we ponder this question a lot actually ourselves. Like if we were to get the chance to collaborate with someone like kind of bigger than Yu-Gi-Oh, how would you make the video? Like how would you make the content? And that's usually where the things get like sticky because Yu-Gi-Oh it's not really a game that you can like sit down and teach someone quickly enough to like do content with them. Maybe you try like Master Duel or something, but even that has a pretty high barrier to like keeping up and knowing what to do.
It's not the most beginner friendly game, especially when you're just trying to quickly turn it into content.
Yeah, so that's kind of the hard part. It doesn't lend itself as well to like kind of a quick collab with like a celeb. So I mean, like, let me think. You could, I don't know, it's hard.
You know who else I would like to play Yu-Gi-Oh with, and this is more of a personal thing. Seth Rogen.
You think he would play Yu-Gi-Oh? Probably.
I think you could convince. I think he could be convinced. I think it's possible, and that's just more. I just think that would be fun.
Yeah. Also, like someone that seems like I think they're too old to have really like been into Yu-Gi-Oh, but I think of like Keanu Reeves or somebody, just someone very but he's like he wouldn't have.
Hey, Keanu Reeves is like that's non-problematic Keanu. He's on a pedestal. He's been on one for years. I'd take that.
Yeah, so I don't know, but at any rate, this is sort of one of these like auction collectible shows. Maybe you guys can watch it. It's called King of Collectibles: The Golden Touch. So
I won't be as long as looking at sports cards.
Yeah, the sports cards thing. Yeah, one other thing I was going to say about the sports cards is like, I remember my parents tried to get me into sports cards as a kid a little bit. Like my dad got me some, and I just remember the first thought I always had was like, how do I play with it?
Yeah, what do I do with these?
Like, what do I do with it? Because I don't even know if maybe he collected cards or just knew that like some boys my age maybe did, but like my first thought was like how do I play it? Do I summon it? Do I like what's its effect?
Like is it in defense?
Because I don't want to just keep like sit it there. I know like there's some nowadays that are worth like millions or whatever, but like to me, I just wanted to play the cards.
Yeah,
I just want to play the cards.
I think for those cards, you have to be a very big fan of the sports and the players. And the player, in them. Like,
yeah.
If you get hockey cards and you don't know any hockey players, and well,
yeah,
I had hockey cards. I remember, didn't know anything about them.
Yeah, sports cards weren't my thing. Anybody in the audience? Maybe I'm sure some of you guys, perhaps.
Yeah, somebody here collects them, and if you do, please educate us just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know a thing. So, yeah, that's my stories. You got anything else?
No, that's all I had.
Cool. Well, I guess that's gonna be it then for episode 2, 1, whatever you want to call it. The next episode of the Pot of Greed. Yeah. So something that we were thinking that might be fun for next time, if you guys want to do this, is we can take a few viewer suggested topics, and somebody suggested like putting them in the pot and drawing them, like I said. So maybe we'll do that, and we can get a few.
I'm just practicing.
Yeah,
future.
harder.
Might be a little awkward, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Of course, be sure to let us know down in the comments what you liked and any feedback and just other things. Share it with your friends. We'll try to have it up on Apple Music and all those other places that.
The places.
Yeah, we'll figure it out hopefully soon. Also working on like a logo and like some sort of an art and stuff. So.
What do you guys think of us turning our faces into this?
Oh goodness, I don't want to be a pot of greed, man. My God,
We look like those people that got hit with Joker gas in the old Batman cartoons.
do your best pot of greed face. We have to do our best pot of greed face.
Okay.
What's your best one?
All right.
You can do it into that camera.
3.
Right
Wait, this one?
yeah, that one right there.
All right. That's all I got.
Yeah, this is mine.
I don't even know if you're smiling. Can't tell if it's a smile or not. All right. Well,
All right.
That's episode.
We'll see you guys next time. Pass turn.